guys, welcome back to Being Becoming the podcast. This is episode 1 of our actual podcast. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I've done a few other episodes of the Being Becoming series, and I took a little bit of a break, or maybe a longer break. But now I am back. I am excited. And this is actually the first episode of the podcast. So shout out to anyone that is watching this or listening to this, not watching, on Spotify, Apple, or SoundCloud. Welcome to the page. I'm excited for you guys to be here, and I'm excited to share all of the things that we are doing. Today, I am talking with a lovely couple, and I actually have my husband on the podcast today. Don't get used to him, you guys. He's only going to be here for about 4 or so episodes and drop in every now and then, so don't get too used to it. But my husband, Micah, some of you guys may know him as Micah 2 Scoops.
What's up?
I'm excited to have you here today, babe.
Yeah, glad to be here. I'm always useful to you. Whenever you want me to be on here, I will. But if you don't, I don't have to be. So,
well, thanks. I appreciate it. But today our episode is focused on relationships. So a lot of you guys have requested some episodes about people or marriage, things that people go through in marriage, advice, things of that nature. A lot of you guys have also requested a lot of information about like how do single people like work through relationships at this time, especially during coronavirus, or just in general, like how we've kind of progressed as a culture. So I'm excited to do this series, or this side series. It's going to be 4 episodes within the Being Becoming series, and they're all going to be focused on relationships. Today, we are sitting down with a married couple, and we will be talking about their relationship and any advice they want to give you guys. And our episode today is titled Being Single, Becoming One, Part 1 of our beautiful series. So I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves today, say hello to the beautiful people, and then we'll go ahead and get started.
What's up? I'm Chris Bouyer.
And my name is Mercedes Bouyer, and we have a YouTube channel called Building Bouyer, where we talk about relationship and marriage advice.
Nice. Well, Chris and Mercedes, thanks for coming on today. I am extremely excited to talk to you guys. I know I've been following you guys, or me and my husband in general have been following you guys' YouTube page. And it's been hilarious just watching you guys, and you guys give such like great advice. Like even as a married person, like we've only been married since September. So it's almost a year. We're coming up on that year. But I mean, I've been taking advice. I've been taking notes. I'm like, there's things that I need to do. Make the house a home was one thing. I was like, yeah, let me start getting things together in here.
Thank you.
And the candle's been working, huh?
Yeah. But again, thank you again for joining us today, and we'll go ahead and get started. So tell us a little bit about you guys' like love story. Like, how did you guys meet? Take us from the beginning. Like, what was it about each other?
The real story and the fake story.
Oh, the real story. I'll tell it because he's not very honest when he tells it.
Yeah.
So we are 23 years old right now. We started dating when we were 13. We met in the high school band. Where if you ask me, Chris had all these girls who wanted to date him.
Here we go.
And I was like, oh, I wouldn't ever like that boy. Like, no. And then over the Christmas holiday, Chris texted me randomly, and then he started helping me in my algebra class. And then from there, we started hanging out, and we kind of fell off the next semester because we had different classes. So I asked Chris to help me in the class that I had an A in, just so that I could hang out with him a little bit.
We met in the library probably almost 3 times a week at like 8 a.m., probably like 7:30.
Yeah, for a history class. I think I finished with like a 98 in that class. So like I definitely didn't need help.
Yeah, and I finished with A too. I don't know. We were just linking.
And we started dating shortly after that.
Yeah.
We dated all through high school.
Mm-hmm.
And then we moved about 5 hours apart from each other for college. We dated all through college. And we got married a couple weeks after we graduated.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Wow. Now, what I was going to ask about college. Now, I know you guys had said you were long distance throughout college. Like, how was that for you guys?
It was okay. It was a struggle, but that's why, I thank God for FaceTime. We during football, she'll come see me.
Okay.
Funny story, when our freshman year, she didn't have a car because they're not allowed to have cars as freshmen. But she connected with an upperclassman who had a boyfriend that played on the baseball team for East Tennessee State. So they connected, and she'll just sneak off of her campus and come see me up there for like football games and everything.
Yes,
So
the connections.
exactly. So fall. But after that, she got a car, sophomore, junior, senior year. But so fall was basically her travel time, and spring, before we had spring practice, was my travel time to Charleston. So she'll go up there to Johnson City, Tennessee, to ETSU, and I'll come down here to Charleston to be a cougar. So
it was a fun time though. I mean, long distance is hard, but it was so Charleston, South Carolina's at the beach, and East Tennessee State is in the mountains. So it's cold there. It's about 5 hours apart.
You'll literally feel the temperature change as you're driving. Like, it'll be snowing where I am, and then I'll come down to Charleston, and it'll just be hot, man. Good God.
It was kind of fun in that regard that we were going to like these different climates, and we can experience like 2 different seasons. Like at any point it's snowing here and it's hurricaning in Charleston. So it was nice. It was kind of a nice getaway from each of us to travel to a completely different climate and be around different people. And like my college is definitely a different experience. Like my college was in a city. And Chris's college was kind of on a countryside. I felt like
it was.
So it was a different kind of experience that we got to go through together, and that part of it was kind of fun. And I think sometimes we kind of miss the whole like going places, and it's always new. And now we're kind of in one place experiencing this together. So there's pros and cons to both situations.
One con was I had a rusty broke down Jeep that every time I would cross my fingers every time I would try to travel. I'm like, Lord, please let me make it through this trip. And I get there, and just I'll hug her goodbye. I'm like, okay, God, please let me get back in time for football meetings or something like that. But yeah, that was a serious con.
It's a good experience for us. And I think it definitely helped make us stronger and prepare us for marriage.
Mm-hmm. Would you guys say it helped kind of like build the foundation blocks of your marriage?
It showed how dedicated we were, but other than that, we basically established our grounds in high school. To be honest with you, even though we were so young, everybody just sensed this sense of maturity. Since we were so young, she was, she just mine.
We've been together forever. So I tell people that like I was like, oh, I'm looking for this perfect man, and I tell people that we were fortunate to like build each other into what we wanted because we were so young. I was able to say, oh, I don't like this guy. And Chris grew into that kind of man that I wanted to be with her. He would say, I like this or don't like this in a woman. And I was able to form into what he was interested in because we were in such formative years of our life together.
That's such good, like, advice because I think a lot of people don't think about it that way. Thinking about like building and growing with your partner. Like there's certain things, obviously there are certain things that deal with like personality. Like you can't change someone's personality, but you can change like habits or things that they may do that maybe, I don't want to say irk you, but things that you may seem as like, hey, I want someone who's more, I don't want to say caring, but someone who's more like thinks about little things that like help me with my day. So like someone washing the dishes, like those are certain things you can change and you can kind of help build each other up.
Yeah. Like one of ours was
we've learned that Chris was not really a loving kind of person
I was loving
a large part of our relationship.
I just wasn't like all touchy, I wasn't like, oh yeah, come here. It wasn't like that. It was just like the little cute stuff that you do in high school. Walk her to class, hold each other's hands, stuff like that. I do miss those days, but now it's just like, her stride too short.
We were able to grow in that together because, like, I wanted more. Like, my love language is physical touch, and like Chris's love language was words of affirmation, and we were able to like. I realized his love language was words of affirmation, so I grew into where I was affirming him more on a day-to-day basis, and Chris was able to grow into more like. She likes physical affection all the time, and he's able to grow in that way. And we're also able to do that really young. I think we took that test in college early on, the love language test, and like we both like went in that direction.
I ain't take a test. He just told me what I was.
I think I took the test. I think I answered the questions with him, and he did it himself, though.
Yeah, we took the test too. Yeah, I think ours is swapped between you guys.
Yeah, basically, pretty much the opposite.
Yeah, I think mine's words of affirmation, and yours is physical touch. But our relationship has changed so much since we've been married. I swear I'm more physically touchy with him than he is with me. He used to be really physically touchy, but now I'm like more physically touchy.
That's me. Like, I feel like, bro, oh my God, stop. Like, I feel like I'll be like more touchy now ever since we got married, especially since when we moved in together. And then, you know, I'll be like, hey, babe, leg touch. Hey, babe, arm grab. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then she'll just be like, oh, get off me. I'm like, come on, bro.
He's so dramatic.
That's funny.
Yeah, I'm still working on, for me, the words of affirmation are really just improving like all of them, because I know each of them has their importance. So just working on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just being flexible, because I know Micah's like really good at showing me how he feels, but sometimes it's not like as easy as like him telling me. Like he tells me he loves me, but sometimes it's not like I want to hear like, babe, you look beautiful today. Babe, I appreciate when you do this. And sometimes it's hard to get that out of you, but I just have to be patient and continue to remind you that that's something I want and need.
Yeah, I try to show in other ways. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I have a question for you guys. How did you know that each other was like the one?
We didn't. We both just got our relationships, and then I just never was the type of guy that just, you know, try to break up with women, you know, in my young age. But it was just like, we just connected. It was just day in and day out. You know, you go to sleep, you wake up, you're still in a relationship. You know, everything's still going good. So let's keep this show going. And it really didn't hit us until, you know, graduation. And then we're just like, all right, here go the test right here. You know, you hear the stories. You know, the jock go to college and he go crazy. You know, he started meeting other women, and then or vice versa. You know, you have long distance, and the girl gonna meet other guys and stuff like that. But we stayed strong, and you know, FaceTime each other, travel to see each other and everything, and you know, just showed our love 5 hours away.
I think sometimes you really don't know. I think even like leading up into the week before we were getting married, I was like, I hope he's the one. I hope he's the one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Even talking to one of my girlfriends, I went to a couple of days before we got married. And I was like, I love Chris so much. I really hope that this is a forever situation. Because Chris and I, we both come from broken homes. Like, I don't feel like it's broken, but our parents weren't together.
Mm-hmm.
So we were both very adamant on like, we have zero intention of ever getting divorced in our lifetime. And so I was like, you know, I had this theory. I think I would say, I was like, everyone who gets married thinks that that person is the one. I was like, how do I know for sure that I'm not going to end up divorced 20 years on the line? Even though as much as I love Chris and I knew I loved him, I was always like, I don't want that to be my story.
Mm-hmm.
And you go into it and you just have to like, I know, I was like, I'm just giving it to God. I love Chris. I want to be with him. This is what I plan to do. And then for me, it really didn't even hit me up until we were actually married. Like when we were living together, and like Chris is very verbal about it. He said, oh my gosh, I just love you so much when we're just sitting on a couch or something, not doing anything, you know, in particular that people would think is loving. And I think the same thing. There are times now that we're married where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so positive I made the right decision. But it was not until after we were married and being with him and being in the house together, because we didn't quote unquote live together before we got married. Mm-hmm. So you never know really what someone's like until you live together. And so then I started living with Chris, and I realized I'm so glad I made this decision. This is hands down the best decision in my life to get married to Chris.
Yeah. On the opposite, I ain't had the whole wedding day story like she said. Like, oh God, please. Like, it wasn't that for me. It was just an over time thing that I knew she was the one. My boys in high school, my boys in college, you know, they'll just see Mercedes how she'll just carry herself, how she was my girl, man. And they'll just like, Chris, and they all say this like, man, I'm telling you, Chris, you're lucky, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, do not take that. Don't take for granted, bro. You are lucky. You got a real good one, man. It's hard out here in these streets. I'll be like, oh. I'm like, okay, man, but I knew what I had, but it's just good to have my boys confirm it. Like, yeah, that's it, bro. That y'all are it. And I was just like, you know what? I knew she was it, but just them confirming it, it was just like, okay, this is the go here. Let's get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew I was gonna propose to Mercedes like senior year of high school, and then so freshman year came and sophomore year came. I was just trying to figure out how I was gonna propose to her. So, and then like I said, every time we linked, it would just be like, hey, bro, like y'all just don't understand. People were just asking us advice when we were in college and everything, and we just felt like we just always, I felt like we always pretty much had it.
Yeah. And we've grown through so much together that it's
oh my God.
And I say grow through because instead of like just going through a situation and not progressing, we were able to grow from everything that's happened to us together as a couple.
Right.
It's like it really helped prepare us for it and helping us know like, all right, this is the right situation. And it's like, it's such a good feeling when you are able to like wake up and I know that like I'm 100% positive. Like everything here is exactly how it's supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be at.
Yeah, I was gonna say after a while of just being together, it just becomes like natural, and it's just kind of how it just goes. It's kind of hard to explain actually. And then we're always waiting for that like exact perfect moment. But I mean, there really is no perfect moment, and whenever you decide, it's just the best time then.
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that because I think a lot of I don't want to stereotype a lot of single people, but I know I have some single friends that like come to me and ask me questions about like relationships, thinking I'm the all-knowing wizard or whatever. Like I don't know. I just know it works between us, but I think it's interesting. A lot of people think it's like there's a moment that you're supposed to have where it's like this is the person I'm supposed to marry. Like we're gonna work. I know this is gonna work, and it's almost. It kind of is a gamble. Like, obviously, you have to have trust in your faith in the Lord. And there's certain signs that you'll see, like, hey, this is the right move that I'm making, like you guys have said. But, yeah, I find it interesting. Like, my friends, like, I'll have single friends that will be like, when was the moment? I'm like, we just work. I don't know how to, like, there's no explanation. I don't know. But how did you guys prepare for marriage?
There's a lot going into that.
What's crazy is that I can't think of anything because she said there's a lot going into that.
So Chris's memory just isn't as strong in this situation. I don't know if you remember, we did devotionals every day from the time we were engaged until we got married.
But we've been doing devotionals in college now.
Right, that's a preparation for marriage. Doing devotionals together, that's preparing for marriage because you're preparing your heart with God for marriage.
Yep.
After we got engaged, we're abstinent until we got married, and that is considered preparation for marriage. And then I know we prepared our finances before we got married.
Yeah,
that's something we were discussing early on. And then talking about what we didn't really want in a marriage was also something that we like really went over. Especially seeing both our parents and their situations. We wrote, Chris, I was like, this is something I don't want. And I thought this is what I also don't want. And I don't think Chris read as much as me. I read The Weight. And then I read a couple of other books like Prayers from a Wife and a couple of different books that I read before we got married that I felt like were really helpful. And we also went to marriage counseling. Marriage counseling, when you have to go to the church. Yeah, we did 6 sessions of marriage counseling with our pastor.
Oh, they were pretty comical. But other than the marriage counseling session, and the devotionals, other than like going above and beyond, I ain't do none of that. It was just more like just treat her right, man, and do right by her, and just keep on, doing you and making sure that you're the best person that you can be for her. That's how I came about everything, and just putting I already knew she was the one. I just had to put a ring on it, basically. So
we talked to our families about it too. Like we talked about our finances, at least with like our parents. We talked to my dad and his wife, and they told us about their finances. I asked my mom. We asked people that we knew. It wasn't like we sought out to like we're going to prepare this way, but conversations kind of occur, and you're like, oh, what do you guys do with your finances? How do you do this? And those conversations happen.
It wasn't really asking. Like I don't know about for you, but from the guy's perspective, it was more like it was almost like they were just trying to test me to see if I was making a mistake or something. And I was just like, no, it's not like that at all. They'll be like, you know, are you ready for this? Yeah. You know, you gotta do this. Oh, yeah, cool. You know, it wasn't really a big deal for me, you know. Or the finances, bro. You gotta do this, Or kids. Have you thought about kids? I'm like, man, if everything gonna be good. I know me and I know her, you know.
Right, we gonna make it work.
We're gonna make it work, and we're just gonna get this, get this show going. I mean, it's not nothing crazy or anything. Like everybody be making it seem to be like. I know there's a stereotype of guys, you know, just freaking out before the wedding, like, oh God, you know. But like, nah, it wasn't like that at all. Just be Mercedes.
A lot of this stuff, like you talk about, even like way before you even think about getting married, like you just have conversations about, oh, you know, kids' future, like, what do you think on this? And just the future in general. So it's not really like all of a sudden when you get engaged now, it's like a bunch of work you have to do then. It's kind of like a progressive thing, at least for us, I think it was. Yeah. It's just maybe kicked into more overdrive once you get engaged.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Everybody treat that like it's just, like, I don't know. I mean, it's important, but, you know, they kind of blew it out of proportion, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. You go to marriage counseling, like, actually prepare for marriage, but marriage counseling in the church, I think is separate from true marriage counseling. We've never been through actual true marriage counseling. We went to marriage counseling in the church, and that gives you a somewhat preparation for, like, we had to go over questions that we probably would have discussed in other parts of life. All right, how many kids do you want? Like, what are your beliefs on raising kids? Like, I think we even had, like, do you like pets on there or something? Like, we had a whole bunch of things, just almost questions that had us discuss what we wanted in life, and then they included scriptures in them.
It was basically easy because, you know, we've been with each other so long, so I already had the answers to the test basically. So I was
right. Yeah, ours was. Go ahead.
We had to take a sheet home and fill it out separately, I think, on the first day of marriage counseling, and like bring our sheets back and like compare.
Yeah, ours was similar. It's that we had no, like, I don't think we ever had homework or anything that we did, but we did marriage counseling with the pastor as well. He was actually a pastor and I think he was a clinical psychiatrist or a psychologist or something like that, but he didn't come from the, like, psychology realm. It was more of like, hey, here's some scriptures that relate to what I'm talking about and what you guys should be looking forward to in marriage and how you guys should be preparing, which I thought it was real helpful. But again, it was conversations that we either had already had or conversations that we would have had prior to actually getting married. So.
Yeah, but he added a good perspective, I think.
Yeah, he did.
And some things I didn't know. So
yeah, I think he just reconfirmed everything for us. It was just a good, like, end point prior to getting married. So some people and a lot of people talk about, like, hey, you know, I'm getting married. What is my goal for marriage? Or what do you want to accomplish within your marriage? And outside, I know some people like, well, I want to have kids, but you don't have to be married to have kids. So kind of what is you guys' goal within marriage?
I have your answer. Every month we write down our goals on the board every day. Like, I mean, at the beginning of every month. So the goals change all the time, you know. Maybe our goal is to have a, you know, healthy fitness, you know what I'm saying? Or make sure that we're right mentally with devotionals. So our goal would be do 2 or 3 devotionals a month or something like that. We'll also have financial goals. We'll be like, okay, make sure we save this much amount of money this month. Oh, we did that. Okay, next month let's try to increase it by $50, $100, you know, stuff like that. So our goals are written down, and they change, you know, from month to month.
I think for like all of marriage, what our goal was is it's a very, like, it sounds self-explanatory, but just not to get divorced. We came from divorced households, and the one thing we said about marriage before we both got into it was like, we're not getting divorced.
Exactly.
And that's the only thing that we weren't like, we're going to have X number of kids. We weren't planning for any businesses, any YouTube, any life goals. All we said was like, we're going to do this. We're not going to stop doing this.
Right.
So we are going to stay married no matter what. And that's pretty much the only goal that we had set up.
Yep, and we just made each other better day by day, and we just take it day by day, to be honest with you.
Yep, that makes sense. So I do want to ask a clarifying question because I know you've talked about both of your parents coming, not from, I don't want to say broken homes, but coming from two parents that were no longer together. What did you learn from them prior to getting married, or what have you learned in general that has helped in your marriage?
Learn what not to do.
Yeah, our parents are interesting.
Yeah.
Chris's mom passed away when we were in high school at a pretty young age, but they were not together. And then they were very clear that they were not together and they didn't want to be together.
Yeah.
And my parents are pretty much the same way. Like, they don't want to be in the same room.
Yeah.
So I think from that, we're just like, it happened so young. Like, Chris's parents divorced when you were
6, 5.
And my parents divorced when I was like ending elementary school.
Yeah.
And so what I remember I didn't really learn was how to have a functional relationship with someone originally. Mm-hmm. My mom ended up remarrying, and I saw like love in that situation. But before then, I was like, oh my gosh, how will I know what a good relationship is like if I've never seen love working out up close?
Right.
And so then it's kind of corny, but then you think about the way that God loves the church, and that's a relationship that you've seen of love happening before you. But I remember thinking, like, I don't know what to do, or how do I be a wife, or how do I be a husband? You know?
Basically, with my side, I just learned from what my dad did. So he was like I guess he just wasn't ready at the time. He was like kind of immature. And then finances, basically, it was just like do this, and then so you just want to do it, and then so it just fell out. They'll fight or whatever, and so they'll bicker, and things just didn't work out. And then over time, I asked my mom, what happened basically, and then she would just be like, he just wasn't ready. He was a good man. He cared and loved. But the love was there. He wasn't, there maturity wise, just to, provide and, take care in regards to like, food and finances and stuff like that. So I made sure that I learned from that mistake. And now I try and make sure that I'm good with, maturity and make sure I'm good with my finances. So that's what I learned from basically my I guess broken household. But what I did learn, the pros came from that is I know my dad and my mom were both loving people, but when they did get along, I did see them, mesh, love each other. And I brought that to the table too. Mm-hmm. So, ins and outs, pros and cons on it. So
right.
I think a lot of my parents remarrying. But I can see the way my mom really loves my stepdad, the way they get along, the way they have their separate time, though, was something that I picked up on. Like, my mom does her thing by herself, and he has his own thing that he does by himself. Like, he golfs, she does not golf with him. My mom watches movies, he doesn't watch movies with her. And so that's something I picked on, is making sure you have that separate time, that ability to do everything that you want to do. Not everything, but what you want to do outside of your relationship, and still being able to have that time together. And then with my dad and my stepmom, I was able to pick up on, I think Chris would say the same thing. He is so loving verbally towards her.
Yes.
You can't tell him she is not
She's
the finest woman in this world. And so he is her biggest hype man.
I'm telling you.
Like, we'll walk in on like a random day. He's like, man, that fine woman right there. That's a fine woman. That's our answers.
But yeah, well, kind of speaking of that, you mentioned how, kind of doing things separate and things like that. Is that like one of the ways that you guys keep like your sense of self in your relationship? Because I know like for us, a lot of things that we did do, like we do together now, and almost like,
we spend a lot of time together.
Now it's like, I don't want to do this thing unless we're doing it together, because we've done it like that for so long. So like, how do you maintain your sense of self?
I learned that from, she learned that from her mom and her stepdad, the whole having separate time and everything. And that's something I had to really learn, because I mentioned it in our video, like Mercedes loves her me time, man. I'm just like, what? Really? Come on, let me know. It's like it's just something that I had to really, let grow up on me. But other than that, I'm just more of like y'all, like you said, just let's do it together. I'll do everything on stage now.
But Chris doesn't realize that he needs his me time too. Like when Chris gets, and I said, like a little fussy or a little cranky, I'm like, gosh, man, it sounds like you've been on the Xbox in a while. What are your friends doing today? You don't want to call them?
Yep.
Because I don't think Chris thinks he needs it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you should let some of that pent-up energy out. Go play that game for a little bit. And he generally comes back happier.
It's crazy. I don't know what she's talking about, but I'm pretty sure it's true.
Yeah.
I try to do that because I really don't. I don't really know what my me time is.
I always tell him, like, you should go play the game. I think you should. I was like, let me call your friends for you, and I will set up someone to play the game with you right now. Mm-hmm. And I have my me time, which Chris thinks is ridiculous. I just sit like silent.
Don't do nothing.
Silent.
Just sit there on the couch.
I'm not reading. I'm not on my cell phone.
I'm looking at her like, what's going on with you? She's just like, I just can't be me. I'm like, dang, you look like you sad. You just lost a dog or something.
I just sit there. I put our dogs away, and I'll just sit down for a second and just like, I don't like hearing any noise when they hear my own thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I open the door. I open the door, and then she's just like,
I set a timer for myself, and I try to do like 20 minutes of nothing every day. Which is just 20 minutes of like, I mean nothing. I mean no phones, no TV, nothing, no background noise. Just literally me taking 20 minutes to completely like reset for the day.
Right.
And some people interrupt my timer a lot. But Chris, I think I don't need it as often as, I think I need it more often than Chris does. Mm-hmm. We do have separate things that we do. Like Chris went away this weekend without me. Mm-hmm. And he had a pretty good time. And he called me. He's supposed to come home on Saturday during the daytime. He called me and was like, you mind if I stay till Sunday? And I was like, have a good time, do your thing. So I think we don't think about needing this as me time, but you got to have a good time with your boys.
Yeah.
And so I think it is good for you. I don't know too much of it. I think if you're like, I'm gonna be alone all the time, I don't want to see you. Mm-hmm. That could be a bad thing. But having a little bit of separate time and ability to do your thing, and we will come together and do some of the same things together. Like I will watch Chris play games sometimes if he's not for very long at all. I got a good like 3 minutes in me. I'm like, all right, this is getting boring. we do a lot of things together, and we try and do things that we're like both not interested in together, like something we've never done before. Like
she coordinated all that.
So like we went to a wood workshop before, which I'm not interested in wood. Chris isn't interested in wood. But we went to a wood workshop just because it was something new that we really didn't have an interest or knowledge on that we could try to do together. Mm-hmm. In correlation with us spending time apart, we make sure we always have things that we're trying new things together.
That's nice. Did you guys make the welcome sign in the background at the wood workshop?
No, I ordered that. That was we made a lazy Susan at the wood workshop and like stained it and everything. It was actually pretty fun.
It was like the main season is football season. That's what it said on it.
Yes, we get to pick a quote to paint on there, and then like we've done pottery classes together before, like when we did like the ceramic painting. Yeah. Things that we're just like we're both new to that we can try out together.
We did axe throwing.
Yeah, we did axe throwing together. Yeah.
Nice. You guys are giving me date ideas right now. I'm like taking all those in. Like one
of our first days, we went to the winery.
I took Chris wine tasting on a farm. It was like they were like pigs and chickens everywhere, so it was an interesting kind of setup for a wine tasting. So we do things separate, but we always try and come up with some new things we both haven't done to do together. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have those discussions or have that time to yourself. Just a personal story of our own / my own. When me and Micah were dating in college, there's a time where I can remember where like, I don't want to say I lost myself, but like I didn't really see my identity outside of him. Because everyone would be like, Micah and Micaiah, like our names are so similar. Like Micah and Micaiah, where's Micah and Micaiah? What do you guys do? Where's Micah? And I'm like, I'm a person by myself. And it was really, I think it was the turning point for us is when he was long distance for work. So we about a year we were away from each other for when you went to start working?
When I moved to Connecticut.
Yeah, when he moved from Connecticut, and it was so far from Kentucky that I didn't see him as much. I think we saw each other maybe like 2 or 3 times while you were in Connecticut. We FaceTimed a lot, but it was just we didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were together so much that it's like it created this sense, I don't want to say sense of emptiness, but it was like I was missing a part of myself, or I felt like I was missing a part of myself. So I completely understand with like having to create time for yourself. So when your partner is away, like you're able to cope in a sense, like you've created that space. So yeah, I think it's important to talk about.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so burning question for you guys. Do you guys often get the question now that you guys are married, like how's married life? Or what should I expect, like for people who are preparing for marriage, what should I expect from marriage?
We get the how's married life thing a lot. I think Chris gets it more than me. People look at him like they're waiting for him to say something bad.
Oh, it's awful. That's what they be waiting. I just be like, right. Good, you know. But I mean, I work, she work. We go on dates, you know. We have fun, you know. We enjoy our time, you know. I mean, right now we enjoy our time when we don't have kids. We just got dogs right now, so I just be doing jumping jacks in the house and stuff. I mean, it's nothing really, you know. Just adulthood, really, just with another person. That's how I think of it.
Yeah.
And then when I was married, like I'd be like, well, when you think about it, I've been married since 9th grade, so.
Yeah, that's one way you can look at it.
When women ask how's married life, I think, or when people ask me in general, I think they're expecting me to say it's so great, we can't wait to have a baby. I think people are looking for something that's super positive for me, and when I hear them ask Chris, they're looking for him to say like it's terrible,
it's awful,
I hate being married, it's the worst,
or they wait for me to like complain about her about something. Like, you know, they probably be like, what's something that you normally hear? Like she's driving you crazy or something like that. Or she's nagging me about this, or nagging me about, like, say, for example, I have some clothes out, or she's like, Chris, da, da, da. I'm like, no, it's not even like that. You know, like in movies. That's what they expect. Everything to be like the movies.
Yeah.
It's not even like that.
Yeah, it is. Do you guys often get like asked for advice now, like about relationships in general? Like maybe your friends ask you for advice, or just people that know you're married?
Yes, I literally just told Mercedes last week. I've had 6 of my boys just hit me up about advice about relationships or either finances, and it's kind of awkward because, you know, I don't have the golden answer. I'm just trying to figure things out myself. You know, we in the same boat, but a lot of people would be like, you know, encouraging words like, you know, I really didn't think about it when we were, you know, together, but I saw the video and that's just something that was really, you know, that we really talk about, like all the topics that we talk about. Like one of my boys would be like, I'm currently in this relationship and we want to, you know, be together, and you guys are really offering us helpful advice, or do you think, how can I be a better man, or something like that? How am I supposed to know how I'm supposed to be a better man? Like, I can't give you like the golden key to be like, here you go find the door. Like, no, bro, like you just figure it out. So
I didn't get a lot of questions. I get more questions from Chris's friends than I do from my friends.
Really?
Chris is from FaceTime, like, show Mercedes and ask her what she thinks about this. Or ask Mercedes about, we had one of his friends showing us a present he got for her. Call Mercedes and see what she thinks first.
Yeah.
And his friends were talking to him and like, well, we'll wait for Mercedes to come and we'll ask her what she thinks I should do about this girl.
Yeah. They want the woman's advice, yeah.
Yeah, I get it more from guys than I do from girls.
Yeah, and then it's just really, it's kind of awkward because it be the people that you don't even think about. You know, they just hit you up and be like, hey, man, on some random stuff, too. You know, you'll just be, what are we doing? Walking the dog or something. So, you know, you just get a text message and you be like, what this person want? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Or I get the, are you free a lot? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, guys are like, they like calling now. They don't like to text and leave evidence about, you know, them being concerned about anything.
Not evidence.
we'll have a nice conversation and everything. Try to give them some encouraging words. Even though I'm trying to encourage myself as I go through this journey, but
I think it's great that people feel comfortable reaching out to us and that people are trying to improve relationships. I think relationships are important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just weird because everybody think we got ourselves together. I'll be like,
yeah, we still over here trying to figure it out. Like,
I'm taking it day by day, my brother. But it does help, I guess, because those early stages that they're in, we already been through. So that's what I guess they're expecting. But then again, you can't give them a good solid answer because every relationship is different and everybody is different. So
right.
It's up for me, but I guess you can try.
This, definitely. So just to wrap this up, I do want to ask you guys one final question. What are some things that you guys have found within marriage that you feel like people really don't talk about prior to marriage? So I'll give you an example for us. I feel like a lot of people don't talk about integrating your lives together, especially if you don't live with each other prior. That's a whole period of well, Micah may do things one way, but I do things another way. So how do we come together and figure out how we're going to do this moving forward? So what are some things that you guys feel like people didn't really talk about prior to marriage?
You start with that, because I'm trying to think.
We made a video on this on some of the things no one really tells you about marriage. And some of the things that we discussed in there were nobody really told us about the whole baby thing that would come up. Because now I feel like somebody asks us for a baby every second day. And I'm like, oh, I don't really feel good today. Are you pregnant? I'm like, no, I'm still not pregnant now. I think people also don't let you know about what really goes into a marriage, I think, because when you're engaged, everyone's super excited for your wedding.
Right.
No one was really talking to us about what it's like 30 days in. Once you're past, you just got married, you're living together now, you're in the thick of it, you're starting work together. Never really talked to us about how do you, like you guys said, combine your lives and set your schedules up right and really get used to another person being there with you all the time. Everyone's going to have little things that they do that are going to bother you, and how do you get through those situations and on to the next one. I know we talk about a lot, Chris watches TV right before bed. I don't watch TV before bed. And so getting around those things, no one could tell me that exact situation would happen, right? But we ended up figuring out, all right, I like to have my eye cover on at night so I can see the lights on the TV. And Chris likes to go ahead and get in bed and do his own thing while he's watching his shows. And that now works out well for us. But when you're first coming into it, you're like, oh my gosh, how is this going to work? How are we going to make this work at all? Because they seem like the little things might just start to drive you crazy, right? But most of them are really little fixable things. And then just moving forward in life, we're so young, I feel like there were a lot of things that it's not that someone didn't tell us this about marriage, they didn't tell us this about life. Yeah. So we're experiencing the new parts of life together and struggling through that, which affects our marriage, but was mainly just because we didn't know about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
We were setting up, we got married, we were both setting up credit for the first time. Setting that up as a couple can be difficult when you're all right, what cards do we get and what all should we have? And calling on Chris's behalf for things now that I'm married to him, that's interesting. When I'm who am I speaking with? And those are the kind of things that you just aren't really prepared for.
Right.
A lot of that has to do with just life.
Yeah, we just established our grounds. One example is Mercedes. She said, "I'm not touching that trash." You taking that trash out, and it was just okay. And another good example.
I don't take the dogs out at night.
Take the dogs out at night. It's just things that we just establish our grounds on. Really, that's I guess try to answer your question to the best of my ability.
And the one that we left out, which was our biggest one in our video, nobody tells you about gaining weight when you get married.
Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
That one.
Yeah, boy. I know I have my happy weight. But luckily, she put my happy weight on while I was in high school, going into college. And then after, my senior year, I was just like, okay, I gotta get my stuff together, So I was happy. I had my happy weight in my early phase of life, and then we linked and we started living together, and I was just like, babe, you think that you can, come up with this way for me to lose weight with my dieting? Like, I can work out. I got the mindset to work out. It's just, I can't. I can't eat right, man. I'm telling you.
It's hard to eat right when you're married.
Exactly.
It's so hard. It's
like,
so fun to eat together.
We about to eat together after this. I'm telling you.
And it's gonna be so
gonna
we already planned it too.
It's gonna smack, man. Oh God.
But nobody tells you about that because, like, I think, especially in our community, like, eating becomes like a thing that you do out of love.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whenever there's a gathering, a celebration, you eat. If you're sad, like, if someone passes away, you eat. And so I think you begin to associate eating with this, like, sense of love and togetherness. And so whenever we're happy and together, it's like, oh, let's go get chicken wings. Oh, we can go get pizza. We can do this together. It's fine. And the next thing you know, you're like, up 5-10 pounds. Like, all right, well,
let's go ahead and cut it back now. Let's get
it. No one tells you about, like, how that will start to affect your life.
Yeah.
Because it's so much fun when you first start eating together.
And another thing that we did, just going back to establishing our grounds, like, Mercedes, in the typical household, they always say that the woman should do all the cooking and cleaning and stuff like that. In this household, it's not really like, it's kind of like that, but I know if Mercedes needed help, I'll, like, help her out. It's not just expected, babe, where's my work shirt? Or something like that. It's, or like, we need this vacuum, da 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 da. It's more like, oh, Mercedes is having a hard time, doing this. Let me go ahead and help her out with that. So we established our grounds, yet we're willing to go out of those grounds. Like I said, Mercedes don't want to touch that trash, but if I'm going to work, if she need the trash taken out,
right.
Obviously she gonna get that tail up and go to that garage and put that trash bag in that garbage,
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically setting boundaries yet compromising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about compromise, working things out.
And communication, compromise and communication.
Yeah.
So I want to give you guys an opportunity for anyone that's out there listening or anyone that is watching this on YouTube. What are you guys working on? I know you mentioned your YouTube page. Please feel free to mention that again. And if there's any other projects that you guys have up and coming.
Yeah, so we have our YouTube page. Again, where we post marriage content. So far, we've talked about surviving our first year of marriage. We have a video coming out. I'm not sure when this is coming out, but our video is coming out tomorrow. And it is on your finances when you're first getting married and setting that up and figuring out what works best for you. So we're really excited to put that out there. And we have a few other things that we're trying to work on to see if we can actually end up pulling some things through. We're trying to support more local Black-owned busises.
Nice.
If that's something, if you're listening to it right now, did you support a Black business today? Did you? So we have a lot of things in the works, and we're trying to work on just improving ourselves, improving our health, improving our relationship with God.
Mainly.
And we would like to reach a big community so that we can be of some service in our lifetime. We like our YouTube just to be able to get out there and help as many people as possible. We believe in marriage, and we believe in just being able to have a happy house and be successful.
Right.
That's basically me too. Just trying to just build success in any type of way, help people out in any way and every way that we can. Yeah. Tune in for building Bouyer. Got some funny content coming out. Got some more information, coming out. So.
Nice. Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're excited. I want to thank you guys for being on the podcast today for episode 1. Babe, I do want to let you, since you were my co-host today, you were an awesome co-host. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you're working on that you want to plug right now?
Getting back to posting stuff on my channel, making music again. I heard you guys met each other in band. That's real cool. I was in band in school. So just getting back to that sort of stuff.
Were you in marching band?
I was in high school for a bit. Yeah, I was in marching band. So percussion.
I was a little color guard girl.
Color guard.
Yeah,
nice.
That's good. I played the tuba and she twirled the flag.
Nice.
Cool.
Yep.
I was like the way she twirled that flag.
That was it. That was the moment for you when you saw the flag twirling.
I was like, that's it.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Thank you again to Chris and Mercedes for being our first guest on our podcast. These episodes come out every Thursday. Thank you for my husband for being my first co-host. You guys, again, do not get too used to him. He'll only be here for so much longer. But like I said, there are a lot of episodes that were related to relationships that are coming up. We are going to do 4 episodes within this segment or series, but continue to watch Being Becoming. Again, we come out every Thursday. We're up by 5 p.m. Eastern time, so make sure that you're continuing to watch. This episode was a great episode. We learned a lot. There's a lot in general that you can talk about when it comes to marriage, so we weren't able to cover everything, but again, thank you, Chris and Mercedes. Thank you, Micah 2 Scoops. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Make sure you check out next Thursday.
Yeah, thanks.